In this video, I'm going to show you how to create all of those interactive slides using Nearpod within Google Slides. Now again, if you want to just show your students a video, share a document, create an assignment, or even create an assessment using a Google Form quiz, you can do all of those things directly in Google Classroom. But you can use the power of Nearpod slides to allow your students to interact in a live fashion with you while you are teaching. So open up Google Slides. You can find that in Drive, or if you just go to google.com, you can click on the waffle at the top right. That's what those 9 dots are called. And you can select Drive or even go straight to Slides from there. Once you're in Slides, you'll need to do this one time, and after you've done this, you'll never have to do it again. You'll want to go to Add-ons, and then go down to Get Add-ons. Here you'll see Nearpod for Google Slides. You'll want to install Nearpod for Google Slides. Now, if you don't see that, you can always search for it up here by clicking Nearpod. Once you've clicked on Nearpod for Google Slides, you will install. Now mine says uninstall because it is already installed, but you would click Install, and then once it's installed, you're good to go. You never have to do that step again. You can close out and go back to Slides. Once it is installed and you click on Add-ons, you'll see Nearpod listed, and then you can click Open Nearpod. This will open up a sidebar to allow you to insert any of the interactive features from Nearpod directly into a presentation. So let's go through each of these that I used in my presentation that you went through previous to this video, and we'll create each one of those together so that you can do it on your own. We start with Collaborate. So I'm going to just click on Collaborate, and this allows me to make a collaboration board for students to add any comments that they would like, and they can even add picture comments to this. I can add a topic, so training discussion. I can add a description like I had in my last video. I can choose what type of background I want it to be. And when I'm done, I can click Save. Now I can also add an image. So if I have a reference image or maybe a reading passage, anything I want to add up here for them to discuss as a reference image, I can add that by simply clicking on it. I can search for images from Google right here, or I can just upload any document from my computer. But I'm just going to leave it as a training discussion collaboration board, and I'm going to click Save. So now I have my Collaborate board ready to go for my students. Next, Draw It. Draw It allows you to take any document and immediately turn it into an interactive document. So if I have a PDF of a reading passage, which I happen to have, I can upload it, and this will automatically turn this into an interactive document, meaning that students can use the drawing tools to highlight words in red, blue, and green. They can add text boxes to type, or even write directly on the document if they have a touchscreen computer. It's a great way to make an analog worksheet into a digital worksheet. So I have this up, I'm going to click Save. Now I can also take any image from the internet and make it a Draw It. So for example, let's say that I want students to label a volcano. I'm going to search for volcano blank diagram. I'm going to click on Images. Here's a nice image for students to label. I'm going to right-click on this and copy image. I'm going to go back to my slide, and I want it to be blank here, so I'm going to right-click and paste it in. and make this larger. There we go. And all I have to do is click Convert to draw it. And now this image of a blank volcano diagram will now be an interactive diagram that my students can go in and use text boxes to label, or even write directly on the picture if they have a touchscreen to label my volcano. Now you'll notice Nearpod added the slide as a draw it slide. I no longer need this one, so I'm going to delete the image and leave the draw it slide. So a lot of uses for draw it. It takes anything and turns it into an interactive document. Next, let's add a fill in the blanks. For fill in the blanks, you choose your background. I like to use something with more of a plain text so it's easier to read. And then you can paste in or type in whatever text you want for your fill in the blank activity. So you could paste in a reading passage. So I might want to go to ReadWorks. And I'm going to look for some content. So let me pull up a second grade reading passage. Let's do a landslide. I'm going to Control-C to copy this text. I'm going to go back over here and paste it in, Control-V. So now I have my text in this box. And now I can go through and select which words I want to be blanked out and put into a word bank. So for this one, let's say that I want to take some nouns. So let's get rid of soil. Oh, we have to go next first. Now I can click on the words to put them in a blank. So I'm going to go to soil, houses, mud, dirt, people, mud, hillside. And I won't get rid of all of them, but just some to give you an example. Ground, bushes, boulders. Okay, so you'll see that the words will be blanked out, and I have a word bank over here that's created. And then I just click Done, and it's that easy. Now I have a fill in the blank activity using my text. Okay, next, Flipgrid. If you have a Flipgrid account, you can integrate that directly into your presentation. So I'm going to click Flipgrid, and it's going to ask for two links, a teacher URL and a student URL. So you need to have a Flipgrid account in order to do this, but it's really easy to set up and it's an easy tool to use. So here is my Flipgrid page. I've made some that I've shared with you. So my teacher link is this one right here. When I'm on this page that shows my topics, this is the link I want for my teacher link. So I'm going to copy that one, Control-C. I'm going to paste it in here. The student link it's looking for is the link that you actually share with kids. So if I want to share this one, this is the activity I want them to do. I'm going to click Share, and I'm going to copy this link. And that's what I'm going to enter here under the student URL. And that's it. I click Add. Now my Flipgrid activity has been added to my presentation. Next, let's do matching pairs. So over here we have matching pairs. This could not be easier to set up. You can give your instructions, and then you can add a pair. So I can do text and text, like I did with vocabulary. I can do text and image, and I can do image and image. And what I love is the search feature directly integrated in this. So, for example, I did letter sounds with a picture. I can just search for apple. It brings up images I can use, and I click Save. So I never have to leave this program to find images. I can find them directly in. So I'm going to click Add Another Pair. B. Let's add an image. Banana. Find the one I want and save. Really easy to set up your matches. And again, you can do text to text as well for vocabulary. So when I'm done, I can click Save, and my matching activity is done. Okay, next, you can add a memory test. Now, I did not show this in my video earlier, but you select images, and it's a memory game, just like you would play with cards. So this could be useful, especially for some of our younger grade levels, but it does work with either text or images. Open-ended question. Open-ended question, you add your question. You can add media, video, or audio instructions. I did a video intro for my last video. You can enable audio recordings, which would allow students to answer via audio recording rather than typing. And for a lot of these activities, you can add a timer, and that will show up here for you to add a timer for your activity. Once you've added your question, they will just be able to respond. So it's not multiple choice, this is an open-ended question. You would just hit save, and your question is added. And there you go. Next, and I did not show this either in my last video, but it's a useful tool. It's a poll. Again, you can enter your poll question, you can add media, video, or audio instructions, and then you give your choices. Students will be able to vote for their response, and you'll get live feedback on the poll. So this could be a great interactive item to use in the middle of your class. Here we have a quiz. A quiz is just like it sounds. You give your quiz a title. You add your questions. Again, you can add media such as video or audio instructions. This is all multiple choice, so you use multiple choice options and you select the correct response. After you've added your questions with as many answers as you need, you can add another question. You can reorder these. Then you click Save. Now for assessments, this is nice if it's in the middle of a presentation and you want to add a quick assessment, formative assessment that's multiple choice. But for more in-depth assessments, I suggest using Google Classroom and Google Forms. And there's also a secure assessment ability in Google Classroom that allows you to block out any other tabs from being open while they're taking that Google Form assessment. But this is nice as a quick formative assessment during your live lesson. Slideshow. So a slideshow allows you to add a group of slides that the students can go through at their own pace. When you're giving a Nearpod lesson, they can only see the screen that you are on. And when you advance to the next screen, that's when they at home will also be advanced to the next screen. But this allows students to go through multiple slides on their own and then until you go on to the next screen. So this is a great way to have them study letters or pictures or vocabulary or reading passages, and you give them time to do that before moving on to the next screen to discuss or to assess. To do that, you can upload a PowerPoint or Google Slides. I like to just do it directly from Drive. So I'll select my file. So I have created a Google slide of flashcards that I want to use right here. And it's just terms and definitions. But now they can go through all 5 of these vocab cards on their own in the same slide before I move on. It's a great way to use Slideshow. Time to Climb. Time to Climb is a lot like Kahoot. It's an interactive game format for questions, and you experienced that in the last video. Again, very easy to set up. You write your question, give your answer options, and you can use images as answer options, add as many answers as you want, add as many questions as you want. You can change the time limit per question if you'd like. And then when you're done, it sets up a really fun game format for the students to answer those questions. You can add a video. I love how you can just search directly in this activity for YouTube videos. You can also paste links here if you know the video that you want to add. You can upload videos from your computer or from Drive. There are some file limits, so my recommendation is to always use YouTube videos. But once you add your YouTube video, you just click Save, and it inserts that video as part of your presentation. Super easy. And finally, web content. You can add any link on the internet as a slide in your presentation through Nearpod. So maybe you want to add something here like a Kahoot or a Quizlet or a link to ABC Yeah, or a link to iStation for next steps, or a link to Go Math to directly take them to Go Math. You can do all of that here. Again, you can add links directly in Google Classroom, but if it's part of your presentation and you want to have it in this interactive feature of Nearpod, you can add it as a web content slide. So once you add it, you simply click Save, and students will be taken directly to it. So now that we've added all of these features, what next? Well, down here, we're going to click Save and go to Nearpod. So before you set this up, you're going to need a Nearpod account. And it's free, it's easy. You just go to nearpod.com, use your school Google email address to log in as a teacher, and your account is created for you. But that will allow you to give Nearpod presentations. So I'm going to click Save and go to Nearpod. And it's going to take me to my library, and you'll see it right here. It's saving all of those slides that I created, and it's making them into a Nearpod presentation. So how do I get this to my students? Well, it's pretty easy. So you have some options here on how to present this. Live participation is what we'll use most of the time for our classes. That allows me to control the presentation, and once they're logged in, as I go to the next screen, their screen advances at home or in my class. Student pace is what I gave you earlier. It allows you to go through at your own pace. You might find some uses for this with your students. So I'm going to do live participation because I know that when I do this with my kids, I want it to be a live presentation for my class. It gives you a link here, but it also has a Google Classroom link here at the bottom. So I'm going to click on Google Classroom, and it's going to ask which classes I want it in. So I can add it to any one of my classes. I'm going to click, let's go to Mr. Farrell, 4th hour. Do I want it to be an assignment, a question, an announcement, or material? Really, it could be any of these. So maybe I'll make this an announcement because this is my presentation for my upcoming math class, and so I just want it to post on my stream for kids to be able to access. And then I'm going to click Go. It's going to let me add any content that I want, so I could say, here is our presentation for math on September 12th, 2020. Please click on the Google Meet link first to join the class, and then go back to your Google Classroom tab and click on this link to join our presentation. Once they click on this link, it'll take them directly into the Nearpod presentation, and then I am in control from there forward. They will see the intro screen, they'll put in their name, and then as I go to the next slide, they will have all those interactive features as we go through the lesson. And that's it. I can then hit post. It will post it and allow me to view it within my Google Classroom. Super easy. Now, I added only interactive features, but again, this is a Google Slideshow, so if I want to add text, I can certainly come in and add a slide of text. I can add a couple slides of images. I can add whatever content I want in between, but I can use any of these powerful interactive features as well. it's going to be a really nice tool and hopefully an efficient way for you to bring in those students and have them be an active part of the learning process.